Today, our group will be discussing photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a biological process in plants that transform light into needed energy. This process was first emerged in early bacteria about 3.5 billion years ago, but these bacteria mainly produce sulfur or iron rather than oxygen. Later, photosynthesis was evolved into cyanobacteria and started releasing oxygen. However, cyanobacteria increased oxygen levels in atmosphere dramatically and allowed aerobic life form to develop. Then the emergence of eukaryotic cells swallow up cyanobacteria and evolve into chloroplasts. This is where photosynthesis happens in plant plants today. There are mainly two major processes among photosynthesis. First, the light-dependent reactions convert light energy into ATP and NADPH. Then, Calvin cycle uses these products to convert carbon dioxide into sugar and oxygen. And we will be discussing these parts more specifically later.
In this section, I will discuss its broader significance in four key areas of photosynthesis. The first one is primary productivity and energy flow in ecosystem. Photosynthesis is a mechanism that transforms solar energy into chemical energy, storing in organic molecule like glucose. And GPP represents the total amount of carbon dioxide fixed by photosynthetic organism in an ecosystem. This is the first step in the global carbon cycle, setting the baseline for energy availability in ecosystem. The remaining carbon, called the net primary productivity (NPP), become available to herbivore and decomposer, filling the food chain. In summary, photosynthesis is the foundation of primary productivity, directly impacting food webs and global carbon cycling. The second one is photosynthesis and atmospheric oxygen evolution. One of the most crucial byproducts of photosynthesis is oxygen, and it's released during the splitting of water molecule in photosystem II. The oxygen is essential for nearly all aerobic organisms, providing the foundation for energy-efficient respiration. Oxygen made it possible for cell to involve aerobic respiration, which produce up to 18 times more ATP per glucose molecule than anaerobic glycolysis. As oxygen level increased, some oxygen molecules were converted into ozone in the upper atmosphere, absorb the UV radiation, protecting the life. With more efficient energy production, the complex multicellular organism involved. The third one is carbon fixation and climate regulation. Photosynthesis is the largest biological carbon sink, absorbing the atmospheric carbon dioxide. Different strategies have evolved to optimize photosynthesis under varying environmental conditions. The first one is C3 plants. The example is white and rice. They directly using the carbon cycle, efficient in cool, moist climates. Another example is C4 plants, like the corn, involving a specialized carbon concentrating mechanism, minimizing the photorespiration. This makes the C4 plants more water and nitrogen efficient, thriving in high temperature, high light conditions. The last example is CAM plants, like the succulent plants. They can adapt it in arid environments by opening their stomata at night to reduce the water loss, highly efficient at conserving water. The last significance is the photosynthesis and bioenergy application. Microalgae to producing the high amount of lipids like the oil, which can be converted into biofuels, a highly sustainable energy source for the future. Also, scientists working on the artificial photosynthesis, using synthetic catalysts to mimic the light reaction of plants, to directly convert the sunlight water into fuel like hydrogen or methanol, providing a carbon-neutral energy source. And they also use CRISPR editing to improve robusticle's ability to capture carbon dioxide more efficiently, increasing the crop yield. And the RIPE, Realizing Increased Photosynthetic Efficiency project, is aimed at enhancing the photosynthetic efficiency in field crops like rice, wheat, and soybean. Such advances are essential to address the food shortage and improve the agricultural sustainability.
Now we have already have the basic understanding of what is photosynthesis and why it's essential, and I will explain it at a mechanical level. And this is the whole paragraph we draw of the how photosynthesis work. and we will explore how plants capture light energy, transport electron, generate ATP and NADPH, and fix carbon dioxide into sugar. It is in two stage. The first stage is called light-dependent reaction. It's what happened in the cyclone membrane and all start when photon from sunlight strikes the pigment molecule into the photosynthesis tube, and this exits an electron into the chlorophyll molecule, pushing it into a high energy state. The excited electron is transferred to the primary electron acceptor, and from there begins its journey through the electron transport chain. But now photosynthesis 2 has lost an electron. So what does it recover? The answer lies in water splitting, photolysis. Water molecules are split into the oxygen, proton, and electron. Electron replaces through lost in the photosystem 2, while the oxygen is released as a byproduct of the photosynthesis. The high energy electron moves down the electron transport chain, passing through the cytochrome B6F complex, a protein that pumps the proton into the secondary lumen, creating a proton gradient. And the electron continues to the photosystem 1, where it's re-energized by other proton of the light. Finally, it's transferred to the NADP plus reducted, which used to reduce NADP plus in NADPH, which is a crucial energy carrier for the next stage. At the meanwhile, the proton gradient inside the cyclolumen is used to power the ATP synthesis. The proton flows through this enzyme, driving the conversion of the ADP into the ADP. At the end of the light reaction, we have produced the ATP and ATPH, the energy source needed for the next phase, the Calvin cycle. The Calvin cycle, which is also called the light-independent reaction, take place in the stroma, a fluid-filled space surrounding the cycloid. Unlike the previous stage, this part do not require light. Instead, it uses ATP and ATPH from the light reaction to convert carbon dioxide into organic molecule. The cycle begins with the carbon fixation, where enzyme ribosco capture carbon dioxide, attach it to the ribosco 1,5-biophosphate RUBP. This creates an unstable 6-carbon compound which breaks down into 2 molecules of the 3-phosphoglycerate, which is also called the 3-PGA. In the reduction phase, ATP and the NADPH provide energy to convert the 3-PGA into the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, which is also called G3P, a high-energy sugar precursor. Some of this G3P exists in the cycle to contribute glucose and other carbohydrate, while the rest would move to the final phase. Finally, in the generation phase, ATP used to rearrange the remaining G3P molecule into the RUBP, allowing the cycle to continue. At the end of the photosynthesis, the plant has successfully transformed the solar energy into the chemical energy. The light-dependent reaction have produced ATP and ATPH, while the Calvin cycle has converted carbon dioxide into organic molecule, like the glucose. And of course, oxygen is released into the atmosphere as a byproduct.
And to conclude, photosynthesis is a very fundamental but necessary process in our daily life. It converts solar energy into chemical energy and provides oxygen needed for living organisms. It also regulates carbon levels in atmosphere. In every plant on Earth, there are photosynthesis happening and shaping the world around us. Here is our reference list, and we would like to thank you all for listening.